Hi, good morning. This is Anna, Imagination with a Healing Garden. This is Shifting Perspectives, and thank you so much for joining me. So, last night I kicked over a hornet's nest, which is so much fun for me. I love doing it. And it surfaced a massive, I should probably talk about this tomorrow morning on my podcast. So, this is me talking about it on my podcast. Reminder, I am a philosopher. A philosopher. My first passion foremost is to think and to get other people to think. And if you're swallowing all the garbage and bullshit the society gives you, you're not thinking. So, one thing that I don't like talking about are diagnoses because it's fucking bullshit. And I'll tell you why. A diagnosis in the medical field is actually measured using science, laboratories and equipment and mathematics and chemistry. That makes sense. So when a doctor gives you a diagnosis, oh, absolutely, that makes sense. Reminder, there isn't a fucking metric that exists in psychology. It's a philosophy. So why are they coming up with diagnosis? It's bullshit. It is such bullshit that the common concept of PTSD has changed like 5 times in the last 100 years because it's bullshit. So right now, diagnoses are trending. Why the fuck are they trending? And there's a lot of people who are getting caught up on, oh, I have PTSD. Well, I have CPTSD. And I've seen people do this where they literally bitch and banter over who's got the worst diagnosis. I have literally watched people I love argue over whose diagnosis is worse. Now, I'm going to be blunt. It's because when they were children, they were invalidated, and the people who they needed to hear and listen to them and see them were their parents, and they didn't. So really, the problem is they aren't being seen or heard. Their wounds and their injuries and their mental hurt is being ignored. That's really what that's about. But psychologists who fucking know better are feeding into this bullshit. So my issue is not with people. Absolutely not. It's with the fucking psychologists. Every time I see a professional on their YouTube channel going, we're going to go over the difference between PTSD and C, you're feeding it. They're feeding it. And it pisses me off because they're hurting people, because they're distracting from the problem, because they are enabling the problem. The problem is those are just symptoms, consequences. No one is looking at the real issue, which is perspective abuse. No one's talking about perspective abuse. No one is talking about, let's sit down and talk about the 3 or 4 perspectives that you have in your brain. And only one of those is you, your ethical perspective. All the other perspectives are forced into you by parents, society, and abusers. Your ethical perspective is what matters. Let's talk about that. But no one wants to do that. And psychologists are the leading culprits. They're at the end of this whole problem going, let's pull this apart. Let's talk about bipolar. Let's talk about ADD. Let's talk about AD. What the fuck? What the fuck? You're psychologists. If you want to call yourselves that. And that's my problem. They know better. And they are so blinded by their little box thinking that they're missing the big picture and they're leading everybody down it. So yeah, I'm pissed off at psychology. I'm pissed off at the entire, I can't call it medical field. It's not medical. It's philosophy. And that is the problem. You've got a lot of psychologists who are out there flouting their fucking opinion as if it's medical. I'm the only one sitting here going, what are you doing? It's an opinion because it's philosophy, dipshits. So yeah, I'm angry at the psychologists because they know better. Shame on them. The people are just, to be blunt, you're being victimized. And this is me going, you guys really need to wake up. Not because you're doing anything wrong. You're not. You really aren't. You're trusting these assholes to take care of you, and they're fucking it up. The reason why you have problems is because the society fucked you up. The society fucked me up. They gave us bullshit to swallow, and they're still giving us bullshit to swallow. And you are still eating the bullshit. Not your fault. Absolutely not your fault. You trust them. And that's my problem. That is my problem. You trust these people and they're fucking it up. That's why I have a problem with modern psychology. That's why I have a problem with traditional psychology, because they're flouting off all this garbage as if it's fact. Hello, there's no metric. A fact has to have a metric. And unless you're a scientist, unless you have something that's hardcore, you can't actually go inside the subconscious mind and measure a goddamn thing. It is abstract. It's abstract. The work that I did when I was 20 years old, the Rorschach print perspective, is like the core of my philosophy. So I'm going to go ahead and break down the Rorschach print perspective for you. It is a 2-minute abstract image. When I see a person, I see them standing on a lone pillar, looking out into the world. And they're trying to gaze upon reality. But they have all of these things inside of their eyesight, inside of their vision, like Rorschach prints, filters that distort the actual reality that's out there. And this person is looking at reality through a Rorschach print. And not one, not 2, 5, 10, 20. How many limiting beliefs do you have in your head? And for every Rorschach print that is distorting your ability to see the actual reality, your reality, you can't, because you're looking at life through a Rorschach print. Religion is a Rorschach print. Culture is a Rorschach print. And then I span out and I see every person in the world standing on their own individual pillar, looking at life through a Rorschach print. Now, you can identify the Rorschach print filters and start pulling them away. You can shove them aside and look around the Rorschach print and actually see the reality that's there. And that's the question that I have, is how much of my reality am I looking at that's actually my reality? And how much of it is really these filtered Rorschach prints that's forcing me to see what somebody else insists I see? The goal in life is to be able to look upon your reality without any distortion from a Rorschach print. Now, we are all standing on these pillars because the only way we can perceive any kind of truth or reality is through our 5 senses. That's all we got. Hearing, sight, touch, taste, smell. And you are no different than the person next to you on their pillar. They have the same 5 senses. Sometimes they have less than 5 senses. Sometimes they're blind. Sometimes they're hard of hearing. Sometimes they don't have an ability to taste or smell. Sometimes somebody is a super taster. Sometimes people develop a 6th sense, intuition. And all we can do is assess what our perspective is without the Rorschach print. Suddenly, truth and reality are opinions. Every one of them. They are solid opinions. And every one of them has to develop our own opinion, our own perspective. And your opinion is no better than anyone else's there. But no one's opinion is better than yours. You stand alone with your perspective through life. It is just you and your perspective. And there are people who will take your perspective away from you and force you to look through life through their Rorschach print. And suddenly you have been robbed of your own perspective. That is the Rorschach print perspective. So as a philosopher, my mission in life is to make you realize that you're looking at life through a Rorschach print. And I have dedicated my life to identifying who these assholes are who put Rorschach prints in front of people, and then who convince them, oh, there's nothing there. You're looking at reality. Yeah, you're looking at reality, as they drop another Rorschach print in front of you. Manipulation. You have been manipulated. I posted something yesterday. Oh, did it get a lot of hate. I love it when I get hate. Oh, I love it so much. And I had people arguing and coming back at me, handing me Rorschach print perspectives. I said nothing because I don't yet know how to address that. In my opinion, funny words, isn't that? It's all just our opinion. Every time you open your mouth, it is just your opinion. And every time I open my mouth, it is just my opinion. But an opinion is a big, very valuable, and very, very important thing. For our opinions are the foundation of our grasp on reality. And when you take away a person's opinion or their perspective, when you distort their opinion or their perspective with your Rorschach print that you forced in their face, you have caused significant, egregious mental damage to that person. That's perspective abuse. The reason why I have shifting perspectives, the reason why I have the healing garden, is to show you a different way to think. Because the problem with you, and the problem that was with me, and the problem that is with every fucking person on this planet, is you have a reality that is yours, and somebody has fucked it up, and you can't see it anymore because there's a society telling you what you should think, and there is a brother who tells you what you should do, and there's a mother telling you what you should be, and there's a father telling you who you should marry, and there's a job telling you what you should do. And every should that you find in your life is one more fucking Rorschach print. And I'm angry for you because you don't know that you are looking through your life through a Rorschach print, and it's hurting you. And these same dipshits who are screaming about helping you are the ones putting more Rorschach prints in front of your face because somebody put Rorschach prints in front of their face. And it's causing you more damage because you're still not thinking outside of the box. You are still looking through life through the Rorschach print that they have forced you to look through. And I'm the only one who sees it. So yeah, I'm angry because I'm alone, because I'm the only one who sees this perspective. So I created the Healing Garden to teach people how to see life through this perspective. So I can start showing you, hey, do you have any idea how many Rorschach prints have been put in front of you and your reality? So you don't even know what your reality is anymore. Your reality is actually all of these other realities that have been forced in front of you and into your life. And had you or anyone else studied philosophy, you could see it. But you didn't, because society took away philosophy out of our schools hundreds of years ago, and they did it on purpose. That was another Rorschach print. Religion is the biggest Rorschach print of all. Tradition, culture, politics, Rorschach prints. So the question in philosophy is asked, what's real? Oh, it's such a good question. I love this question. What is real? Well, this is existentialism. That is the study of what is real in philosophy. I will tell you what is real. You, what you love, that is real. That is it. What you love. I'm going to cry. Give me a minute. And what really bothers me is so many people don't even know what they love anymore. So many people have forgotten themselves. So many people have lost their identity that they don't even know where they start anymore. People I love don't even remember what they love anymore. And I have literally watched them forget me because of these Rorschach prints. So when I talk to people and I say, what do you love? And they say, I don't know. All that's left are these Rorschach prints. And the only way you can find yourself out of these Rorschach prints is with your identity. It's with what you love. Love truly is the core. So I'm sitting here going, self-care, people, self-care. You got to remember who you are. You've got to remember what you love. You've got to remember. Because until you remember who you are and what you love, what you're passionate about, that's why you're abused. You're abused because you don't know who you are. You're hurt because you don't remember who you are. That's it. There is no diagnosis. There is no mental illness. You just don't remember who you are. You just have a really bad case of amnesia, and you have literally forgotten yourself. That's it. And the people who are responsible for teaching you this don't. And it pisses me the fuck off. Self-care is not just taking yourself to the spa. It is literally you remembering who you are, because that's what's real, because that's the core. It all starts there. Identity and then ethics. And then you get to find your beliefs that are built on your love and your ethics. And the rest just falls into place. And when it falls into place, the Rorschach prints go away. And when the Rorschach prints go away, the mental illnesses literally melt off. But no one wants to talk about that. They want to argue over the difference between PTSD and CPTSD. Dumb fucks. They are, not you, the psychologists. The psychologists who should know better, had they studied philosophy. This is what you get when a bunch of idiots decide to study and teach philosophy, psychology, without actually studying philosophy. You get a bunch of idiots spouting an entire profession that's missing the entire core to it, the ability to think. So they're just regurgitating a bunch of remembered words out of a bunch of absolutely incorrect textbooks that are so far off the point that they are causing more damage than good. And it's your finances, it's your mental health that's taking the toll. So yeah, I am pissed. I am really fucking pissed for you, because you don't know that this is what's going on, because they have given you a Rorschach print. So this is the Rorschach print perspective. This is what I invented when I was 20 years old. I used that argument to break my own Stockholm syndrome. I was owned by a pedophile when I was a teenager. And he kept me as a slave for 6 years. And I couldn't get out of it because of the Stockholm syndrome. When I came up with the Rorschach print, when I came up with that argument, it broke the hold. Use it. It ends Stockholm syndrome and psychological entrapment. Psychological entrapment is the mental condition where your subconscious mind is taken hostage by your abuser. Everybody has psychological entrapment. That is a diagnosis. That is the problem. That is what I call perspective abuse. And that's what I talk about when I say a subconscious mind has been hijacked. It's psychological entrapment. That's what it is. And when you're healing, the goal is to take back your subconscious mind. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And to do that, you have to recondition your subconscious mind and take it back from your abuser. But you can't do any of this unless you understand perspective psychology, which doesn't exist. I had to make it. I literally had to invent the goddamn thing because it didn't exist. So when you are in an abusive situation, remember the Rorschach print perspective. Remember, your perspective is everything. everything. It's everything. And anytime someone tries to tell you different, that's perspective abuse. And that is the process of psychological entrapment. And that is the process of them taking your subconscious mind away from you by using a Rorschach print. So that is my spiel for the morning on the bullshit that is diagnosis. I am hosting a masterclass on the 14th of August. It is currently 98% off. Take a look over there. Book a call with me. I love going over healing journey plans with people. You should have a healing journey plan. This is something I do for free. Get on the phone call with me, and we're going to go over your healing journey plan. If you already have one, great. Let's go over it to make sure it's complete and well-rounded. If you don't have it, let's put one together for you. Everyone needs a healing journey plan. Everyone needs one of these, because if you don't have a plan, you are not going to go anywhere. And that's the issue. You should not be in therapy more than 5 years. If you have been in therapy longer than 5 years, you have a serious problem with your therapist. You have a serious problem with not having an efficient healing journey plan. No one should be in therapy longer than 5 years. That is incompetent psychology practiced by incompetent practitioners, and no one questions it. You should not be in therapy more than 5 years. If you are, that's a red flag, and it's time we start questioning it and raising the standards on the professionals. So, healing journey plan. Get on the phone with me, book a call. It's over at my website, www.annahealinggarden.org. The link is below. Just click on it, talk to Anna, and you can book your call with me, and then I'll sit down and we will go over your healing journey plan. We will either tweak the one you have and make sure it's all filled in, or we will create one for you so you get everything you need to start getting your identity back and start recovering who you are. That way, well, that's the foundation. That's the foundation. That's what all therapy should be. You should not be doing shadow work without your identity recovered. And in most cases, this is another incompetence. I could do like a whole podcast of just how incompetent psychology is today. You should not be doing shadow work unless you have an established identity, because you're going to need to know who you are when you kick open doors and challenge the perspective of others. And you can't do that if you don't have your own self grounded in what you love. And in fact, once you start to solidify who you are, you don't have to do shadow work. It all falls into place, which is why shadow work is bullshit. By the way, shadow work is a phrase that's just trending. It doesn't actually have any grounding in psychology. And now psychologists are picking it up because common man started using it. It comes from Carl Jung, the undiscovered self, and he referred to the shadow self. So a couple of common man, laymen, picked up the shadow self from Carl Jung, and they took it and ran with it. And it molded itself into shadow work, which it doesn't really exist. And I actually go over this a lot in my Triadic Healing. I go over that in Fuck Trauma Fight, my group's there, and I explain what it is you're actually supposed to be doing with shadow work. So, but you shouldn't be doing that until you have a solidified identity. But again, once you do that, you don't need to do shadow work, because the rest of it just kind of falls off. Because you need to start with your identity, and then your ethics, and then your beliefs, and then the rest just falls into place. So take a look down below, book your call with me, and we will get you your healing journey plan. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.